So this is the Ornithopter. This is a project that all the students get to make and take home, and it's pretty cool. You start off with showing them the finished Ornithopter. So you have a model. Really cool. So the payoff for this project is this, and it's awesome. They get to take it home and it flies. And that's good because this is really hard. It's also written in Chinese, so the directions are pretty much useless. You can kind of get an idea of what to do just by looking at it, but the best thing to do is just work it out. So you can go through the directions. It's always good to hold on to them just so you can see where the longer pieces go. It tells you where the pieces of wood go. But I'll explain everything here. That way you shouldn't have too hard of a time figuring it out. Also, too, if you notice, I've sectioned off this area with masking tape. That's what I do with the students as well. I put masking tape all around. That way each student has their own area to work. And also all their little pieces go in there. So here we have all the different parts. We have the rudder, which is here. We have the wings, the main wings, which is right there. We're going to put those off to the side. You don't use those till basically the end. Then this is double-sided sticky tape. So you peel one side, stick it down, and then you peel the other side and stick it to the Ornithopter. Very important. We also have our sticks, and we have these dowel rods, these really tiny dowel rods. And you have 5 of these. You have one that's small, and then you have 2 medium and 2 large. So we'll see where they go. Then you have the stick. This is the main part of the body. That's where the whole thing sticks together. You also have 3 rubber bands, which is extremely important that you maintain all 3 rubber bands. Losing 1 rubber band means it won't fly as well. It will still fly, but 3 rubber bands you need to really get it to fly. And then you have all these other pieces of the hardware. So we'll go over all these different pieces as we go. Always keep the bags, and when you start this project too, give all the students large Ziploc bags. They probably won't finish this in one day. So give them large Ziploc bags, that way they're able to put all of their pieces away, and even when they started building, it should still all fit in a Ziploc bag. Another good idea is a shopping bag, large paper shopping bag with everyone's name on it. That way you don't have to crunch up any pieces or take it apart to fit it in. So here's the other parts of the hardware. I'll just start putting together and you'll see how all the pieces go. Now you'll see there's lots of little tiny pieces. This is a wedge that goes back on the rudder. Very important not to lose that. Keep that there. And there's even this tiny piece here, which is for the wing. And there's this piece. Now this piece, I'm not sure if this is what it's intended to do, but it's such a small piece. In the picture that it shows in the directions, it shows 3 of these, so I actually break one off and use it to hold the piece together. We'll do that later now. Okay, so the main stick is here. Then you have your tail. This is where your tail comes out. This is the part that sticks on the stick, and that's your tail. Then you have the nose with the crank on it. So the crank is here. And then you put the stick in the other side. So that's how you start it, just like that. So then you take your medium sticks and you stick them in the rear or in the rudder, and it's okay if the pieces fall apart, just so you know where they go. So the sticks go here in that side of the rudder and the other side of the rudder, like that. So that's the tail. Then you take this wedge and you put it inside the rudder. That holds the sticks in place, and you have to push it pretty hard. Be careful not to break this stick. Don't put any pressure on it. It's not very strong. So put all your pressure on the plastic bits, and that'll work there. So you have the rudder. So here we have the crank, and you have these long levers that are here. You can slide this hole through the point of the crank. It's another crank all together. Push that through here, push it through there. Notice how it goes to the bottom of that crank, right there. That's where that one stays. Then you take another crank And I've noticed too that some of them do not have holes. This is another one of those that doesn't have a hole. So you might have to actually push a hole through there. It looks like the hole was almost created on the edge of that there. So we'll have pliers and tools for you to poke extra holes through. So here we go. You have your 2 cranks, your 2 levers on the crank. So these go on there. Now here you have your plastic part for the wing. You have these metal pieces. You'll notice there's a hole at the very top. That's actually for the stick to go in to hold the wings out. So this goes like this. So close to that hole with the stick is the metal. When you push that through that hole, push it through the hole, then you wiggle it and then twist it. So then you push it flat. There's actually a line there that's been cut. So you can push this whole thing inside the plastic piece. Whoop! This is what it looks like when it's done. It has this here to hook one of the levers on the crank, and that goes into the main part here. There's 3 holes here. This goes into one of the holes, and then the crank goes on there. Now it actually is important which crank goes on which wing, but you kind of have to do trial and error to figure out the best way to put it on. So you put that through here, and that's pretty much the setup. So when you get the other one on the other side, then that's good. Now these fall out constantly, and I haven't figured out a way to keep them in yet, so these will actually fall out quite a bit. So just know they will fall out, and you just keep pushing them back in. It's important. So let's try it again so you can see here. I have the metal bit. This little bendy part, you have the L shape on this side, then you have the crank on the other side. Make sure you put the crank in the hole at the top to where the stick goes. Push it all the way in. Turn it so the metal lines up with the cut that's been cut in the plastic, the slit there, and then bend it in. Let's see if I can get this off there. There we go. Looks like each one of these ornithopters have their own little unique little thing. Some of them are missing holes, some of them have extra parts stuck to it, but that's how that looks right there. So again, now because this one's missing a hole, I have to try and drill through it.